So I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw the BuzzBee shells, I had high hopes. I thought these things were gonna be really cool, and they are. I mean, they do definitely have some cool points. The problem I have with them though is that they're pretty big, clunky, have an air restrictor built into them, and a good portion of this shell is actually just air restrictor. Dart posts are in here. It takes away a lot of options. At a bare minimum, they should at least remove the dart post. I don't understand why that has to be there. But anyways, you know, after looking at some of the options that we have on the market now with the Spring Thunder, Firefly, kind of made me start to think, you know, here's a Firefly shell. I started thinking, why don't we revisit the BuzzBee shells? Is there a way we can make these things shoot 2 darts? And so, in this video, we're gonna see if we can get it done. So, I'm Dr. Flux, it's 2Shot Tuesday, and let's see if we can make the BuzzBee shells shoot 2 darts. So in my quest to find a better BuzzBee shell, I turned to Thingiverse. I found a shell by the name of Jack Rabbit Nerfer, and he makes a pretty decent, just double shot shell. Now this shell has a little bit of a pinch at the end, so you can feed a normal dart in or half dart, because there's no dart post. I did notice that when you try to feed 2 half darts in here, it didn't work too well. So I ended up going and grabbing some CPVC, and I was able to cut the collar off, drill into it, and then sink the CPVC. This then makes a nice little tight barrel. Let's go through the steps in which I make these shells. The first step is to take a drill bit and drill out the back hole, and what this does is it actually releases the dart post. Once the dart post is gone, we can then take this to the bandsaw or chop saw or any other cutting device and chop off the neck. Once the neck is chopped off, we then go in and continue removing the air restrictor. This is done by kind of turning the air restrictor on its side, putting in some needle nose pliers, and just yanking it out. Once we have the air restrictor out and the spring, we then have to bore out the entire shell so that we can fit our CPVC in. Also, took this over to the saw and made cuts of the CPVC, and I essentially just measured it out to be the same size as the original BuzzBee shell. Once we got the CPVC cut out and we have the holes bored out, then it's just a matter of using 2-part epoxy to seat in the CPVC into the BuzzBee shell. Once that's all done, we let that cure, and I took these back to the sanding belt just to make sure that we are exactly the same size as the old BuzzBee shell. This is just to make sure that we don't have any breaching issues and feeding issues and whatnot. Once this was all done, I went in there and just kind of elongated it so that we can easily feed darts in there, and yeah, we were ready to go. Right off the bat, I tried to do 2 half darts, and in something like a double fire, that works fine. But something like the rapid fire tech, I kind of had issues feeding this long dart in. I could of course just feed it in like this, but when it came time to using it in the magazine, that was a different story. So I went back, and for this loadout, I ended up shooting the quarter darts, and 2 quarter darts fits perfectly in the BuzzBee shell. Now, shooting 2 half darts in my shell works great with something like the double shot, because it doesn't matter how much clearance is sticking out of there. It's got a whole barrel to work with. My boomstick. So I took this out to the range and did some chronograph. So it turns out the stock performance was probably around 60s or so. It wasn't too crazy. So I ended up doing several chronograph readings. I did short darts. I did the long dart, just your standard dart. I did the original shell just to get some base numbers to look at. And yeah, so let's go ahead and check that out. After getting some chronograph readings, I decided let's go ahead and take this to the range and see how effective it is. And I quickly found out that the 2-shot quarter darts is actually pretty good. And it's a lot of fun to have those shells ejecting. So we set up targets every 10 feet, so that's 10, 20, and 30. And we shot some cups. So let's check that out. After shooting some cups, I decided, you know what, let's see what the double shot can do with two round shots with a total of a 4-round shotgun blast. And as you can see here, it's pretty fun. So in the end, I think the 3D printed shells are perfectly fine if you're just shooting maybe a half dart. If you want to shoot 2 darts though, you're not going to be able to use the 3D printed one. If you want to shoot more than 1 dart, I recommend doing something like this. This works fine. There is also another file in Thingiverse if you would like to do a brass barrel. There is actually a shell that accepts a brass barrel in there. So I actually am out of brass right now, so I was unable to try that one, but that will probably be the next shell I try once I get some brass on hand. So in the end, let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Do you think this could bring back the BuzzBee shells, or are they really gone for good? I still think they're cool. There's just something about having a shell eject. When you have things like the Spring Thunder and the Firefly, it kind of makes these old BuzzBee shells, makes them kind of look bad. Hey, there could still be a place in the hobby for them. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see more of my content, head on over to my channel at Dr. Flux. I will be doing a review on the Villainator. This will be coming out probably in a couple days or so. And as always, happy nerfing.